What's good? What's good, Jets fans? It is the Hangar Hangout episode 43. Can't believe we're still going this. We're going this hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm impressed with myself. Just kidding. Just kidding. Listen, I appreciate you guys for sharing your time with me. I get it. You guys can get your Jets content anywhere else, but somehow, some way, you've chosen to share your time with me on a Tuesday night this late to go ahead and talk New York Jets football. And I want to say thank you. I've officially hit 1,700 subscribers. Like, it kind of caught me off guard today. I was jumping on to get everything set up today, and I realized, oh, wow, I've hit 1,700 subs. This is absolutely freaking awesome. And I got to thank you guys because, again, none of it is possible without y'all time. It's exciting to me. And listen, and I urge you again to like and subscribe, so the YouTube algorithm does its thing and can get this content into more Jets fans' hands. We're trying to go ahead and get to 2K before the season gets here, the 2025 season gets here. Looking to do a giveaway on draft night. So again, would love to go ahead and have you guys join us, subscribe, be a part of that giveaway on draft night. And I'm going to do one even better. If we can get to 2K by draft night, that's 300 subs away. If we can get to 2,000 subscribers by draft night, the Joe Namath jersey giveaway will be moved up, obviously, on draft night, vice having to wait to the beginning of the season. And I'm going to include another jersey as well as the mini helmet that I was going to include for the giveaway for the actual draft. So just throwing that out there. 1,700 subs with 300 away. I feel like there's some momentum going. Jets fans are excited again, or trying to get excited again about football, and I appreciate you guys. So help me get to 2K by the time the draft gets here, and we're going to do a major giveaway. The Joe Namath jersey being the bread and butter of that giveaway will also come with two other giveaways, a mini helmet and another jersey giveaway. So let's get to 2K, hopefully by the draft, and we can go ahead and we'll make it fun, make it worth your while, right? So yeah, so we're here. We're gonna go ahead and talk Jets football. Man, we know it's officially freaking the offseason because the rumors are becoming rampant, and the Jets are once again tied to numerous quarterback prospects, and of course mock drafts are coming out. So, without further ado, yeah, I guess let's talk. Let's talk Jets.
I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man.
Any players that's here now, put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Listen, there are going to be some challenges, but with challenges becomes opportunity, gets opportunity. But here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Hangar Hangout. Like I said before, it's episode 43. We've got Tigo in the building. Today, we're going to talk some rumors. Just rumors are out there tonight. And me and Tigo talked about it. We got our opinions on it. We want to go ahead and have you guys chopping it up in the chat. Of course, let's talk about the New York Jets, man. How this is going to look, what it could potentially wind up being for us. I see a lot of you guys are already in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Jimmy Jets, glad to have you joining us tonight, man. We appreciate you. RJ Mack, what's good, brother? How you doing? We've got Jimmy Jets again. We got Miguel in the building. We got Big Will, New York Jets Dave, Jersey Jets. Y'all came out in droves tonight. We got Philip.
Nah, bro, you're missing it. Jimmy Jet became a member and then gifted 5 memberships. Those are all the guys that got the membership. So Shout out to Jimmy Jets for supporting
Hold on.
New York Jets
First and
situation report in a
foremost,
big way.
Jimmy Jet, you're the first individual to gift memberships the way you just did, brother. Wow. Okay. All right. Shout out to Jimmy Jet. Appreciate you for catching that. Thank you, good sir, for joining the Alpha team, Gundy's Fire Team Alpha. Appreciate you, and gifting 5 memberships. Oh wow, 5 Alpha level memberships to those in the chat. So you were able to gift memberships to Miguel Padilla, you received a membership from Jimmy Jets. Big Will, you received a membership from Jimmy Jets. New York Jets Dave, you received a membership from Jimmy Jets. Jersey Jet, you received a membership from Jimmy Jets. And Phil, you also received a membership from Jimmy Jets. You guys are Fire Team Alpha members. Compliments of Jimmy, man. I appreciate you guys. That is awesome. That is the first. That's the first for me. That hasn't been done before. Appreciate you. I didn't even know what it looks like. That's how like this was new. Tigo, I appreciate you for catching that. That's the first I've seen that happen on my side before. So that's the first. Again, I appreciate you, man. Jimmy, that's awesome, brother. Thank you so much for the support. Means a lot to me, man. Means a lot. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Listen, we're going to talk New York Jets rumors tonight, man. If you've got comments, if you want to go ahead and get into the fold, you have any questions for me and Tigo, feel free to go ahead and ask the questions in the chat. We're going to go ahead and pull up. I'm trying to go ahead and make sure I track everybody. Jimmy Jets again, man. Appreciate you, brother. That's again the first for me. So I'm overwhelmed with joy and appreciation that you were willing to go ahead and gift that many memberships to individuals in the chat. So Tigo, rumors are out and about, man. It's officially the offseason.
It's rumor season, bro.
It's rumor season, baby.
That's what we're here for.
So
it's time to get upset at things that won't happen. Yeah.
Okay, but the thing is this, right? This is the funnest time of year for us as Jets fans. We don't get a lot of these, right? Where we can at least start to get into the void of hope. Once the season gets here, it usually doesn't last long for us. So we get to experience it, for several months rather than, a month in the regular season. And I'm hoping maybe this is the year where that all changes for us. And I'm a big believer that this could be our year. Change the regime. We got a bunch of new individuals taking shape and leading the way when it comes to One Jets Drive. But you're hearing rumors right now about, the next potential quarterback option for the New York Jets. As we all know, Aaron Rodgers was released officially from the New York Jets last week. Aaron is no longer on the roster. I think he's going to be designated as a post-June 1st cut, which makes sense, right, for so many reasons. I know there's a lot of people that weren't keen on it. I know Tigo definitely wasn't keen on it. But when you're looking at this team trying to go ahead and start from scratch and build – as they put it, sustained, culture of winning, I see why they went this route, but nevertheless, Rodgers is no longer the guy. And now you're starting to hear connections and connecting the dots of who the next quarterback's going to be. Latest rumor, coming out right now, Justin Fields. Justin Fields is officially being tied to the New York Jets. Apparently, there's interest on the Jets side as well as interest from Justin in regards to being, part of this quarterback room. Now, to me, Justin Fields brings a elite trait at the quarterback position. He's an elite athlete at the quarterback position. I think you can do a lot with a guy like him in terms of what his mobility brings to the table. I, for one, have looked at Justin Fields year in and year out get better. In Chicago with no coaching staff, no freaking offensive line, no weapons, and somehow, some way has been able to get better each year, statistically speaking. Then he went to the Steelers last year, went 4-2 before he was benched for Russell Wilson, who the Steelers had brought in for his veteran expertise and hopefully taken that offense to a whole other level. And now he's a free agent and he's interested in potentially being the Jets quarterback. So, Tigo, I can see you can't wait.
Tell me now. Tell me now. I thought we were trying to win games. Man.
I
thought we were trying to win games.
All right. Why not? Why not Justin Fields?
Because I thought we were trying to win games.
Okay.
Isn't that the goal? Is to win games?
That is the goal.
So then why are we talking Justin Fields? We're trying to win games.
He went 4-2 last year.
Did he win
4-2
those
last year.
games, or did the defense win those games? Because they weren't statistically good performances in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
That's the highest paid defense in the NFL last year.
Okay.
And let me ask you this question. Let's go down this line of thinking with Justin Fields, right?
All right.
Who was getting paid more money last year by the Pittsburgh Steelers? Justin Fields or Russell Wilson?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. Justin
Getting paid
Fields
more.
made $10
Yeah.
million. I think it was $8 or $10 million
8 or 10 million,
last year,
yeah.
right? Russell Wilson was on a league min contract. They started the year. Who was the week 1 quarterback?
Justin Fields.
Okay. Why was Justin Fields the week 1 quarterback?
Russell Wilson was banged up.
Russell Wilson was hurt. So it took him 6 weeks to get up to speed, Russell Wilson, right? And at that time, what was Justin Fields' record?
4-2. 4-2.
4-2 in those 6 games. So he had
Yeah.
a winning record as a quarterback. And yet, let me ask you this question. Is Mike Tomlin a good coach?
I think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Beautiful. So, good coach with a quarterback that had won 4 of 6 games immediately gets benched the moment Russell Wilson is healthy. And then for the next 11 games plus a playoff game, they never go back to him. Every press conference was, no, we have a Justin Fields package that never played a snap for the rest of the year. And Russell Wilson wasn't a good quarterback either last year. Let's be very clear. And Justin Fields was there the whole time. So, begs the question, good head coach benches him the moment he's given the opportunity to for another bad quarterback. Is in situations all year where the other bad quarterback isn't doing all that well, never brings him in. Is in a playoff game that is very, very quickly getting out of hand, never brings him in. Has an opportunity to bring him back, wants nothing to do with the kid. But we're going to get him? We're going to go get the guy let's be real, Hall of Fame head coach is saying, nah, I'm good on. And let's not act like they have a solution at quarterback either. They're in the same boat as we are, and they want nothing to do with Justin Fields. I don't care what the owner Rooney came out and said. They're not interested in bringing him back. He wants to go back, so does Russell. Neither one of them want to go back. I mean, Tomlin doesn't want either one of them back. And FedEx Jr. doesn't want him back. And he's not even a good OC. So why is it I thought the goal was to win games? The guy can't throw the ball. He's more athletic with more melon than Zach Wilson. He can't diagnose a defense. He can't throw He can't throw to a receiver that's open. And we saw that for 3 years at Chicago. We're trying to win games. There are other options that are just objectively better because at least those other options, they can hit wide receivers who are open. Justin Fields what Justin Fields is to me is the front office going, we need to sell the fan base that we're trying to win, but actively trying to lose as many games as possible. Go get Justin Fields. He's not going to win you games. He's not a good quarterback.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate. So you said a lot of things in regards to Justin Fields losing and he's not a winner and all that good stuff. Even though statistically speaking, Justin Fields put up good numbers statistically. Now, arguably, you have been pounding on the table for Aaron Rodgers to be the guy, right? And you've been telling me that statistically speaking, Aaron Rodgers was a stud.
No, I never said that.
Games. Well,
I never said that.
He's our best chance to win games.
I agree.
Best chance to win
That's
games.
what I was saying.
But you were basing that off the stats.
No. Statistically, Rodgers wasn't a good quarterback last year. We weren't a well-coached football team last year. That was always my point. The statistics are going to point that Aaron Rodgers wasn't a good quarterback last year, and that's true. That's what it points at. But you have to go beyond that. You have to go beyond just what the statistics say and look, were we a well-coached football team? Did we have an offensive coordinator that knew what they were doing? Did we have a defensive-minded head coach who told the offense to shut up, you're running the ball 3 times. So every single play, Aaron Rodgers had to check out of it to try to throw the ball to win games. Like, we weren't a well-coached football team. And Aaron was a part of that. But, like, I don't think anybody can argue that the Pittsburgh Steelers are a badly coached football team.
No, they're not.
And so, like, that's my point. So you're going to a quarterback that's coming from a good situation, and he's saying, nah.
But your thought process, then, would you say that the 49ers are a well-coached football team?
Yeah.
Did Sam Darnold not go to the 49ers?
He did. He couldn't beat out Brock Purdy.
They let him go, right?
Yeah, but that's because they had their guy.
They let him go, right?
No, because they had their guy.
And
There's
I would
a
argue
difference.
that Mike Tomlin brought in Russell Wilson because he thought that was going to be his guy. This is also the same guy who was in on drafting Kenny Pickett, for crying out loud. I'll say this. When it comes to the quarterback position, I think there's way more nuances to picking the guy. Not every coach has figured it out or can figure out the quarterback position. Mike Tomlin is one of the best head coaches in the NFL. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He is a leader of men. He's been able to consistently find ways to win games with what I would say is mediocre offensive production. Predominantly defenses carry that team a lot. So I would argue that the team's inability to use Justin Fields' strengths, whereas they wanted to bring in Justin Fields to go ahead and run their offensive scheme, may have played a role as to why they decided to go with Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. Justin Fields still won them 4 games. Regardless of what you say, they won 4 games. He was the quarterback on his record, on his stat sheet. He's 4-2. He also was very accurate with the ball. He didn't turn the ball over. And you've seen him progress every single year he's been in the league, taking a step further into being an NFL quarterback every year. Nope. Now, if Sam Darnold can go from the 49ers to the Minnesota Vikings, and then a coach sees what he can bring to the table and puts a game plan around him that allows him to excel and literally be in the conversation of being a Pro Bowl freaking quarterback.
Yep. Just made $35 million this offseason.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what's fundamentally different?
What's fundamentally different?
Sam Darnold can throw a football accurately. Justin Fields can't. That's the difference. That's the difference. Justin Fields is an elite athlete who cannot throw the football well. He just can't do it. He is mechanically broken. His throwing motion is incredibly bad. Incredibly bad. That's why if you look at the 6 games that he started, he had 1 game over 250 yards. 1 game. And it happened against the bum-ass Indianapolis Colts.
I'm gonna go ahead and show you why I disagree with you. To say he can't throw the football, I think is...
Dude, it's not. It's a mechanical thing. He literally can't.
Okay.
Look at his throwing.
2021.
Look at that elbow.
2021, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 73.2 quarterback rating, 58.9 completion percentage, 1,870 yards. 2022. This is on the Bears, by the way, with no offensive line, no offensive weapons whatsoever, no coaching, just incompetence all around. So 2022. 60.4 completion percentage, 2,200 yards thrown, 17 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 85.2 quarterback rating.
Yep.
2023, 61.5 completion percentage, 25.62, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 86.3 quarterback rating. 2024, before he was benched, 65.8 completion percentage, 1,106 yards, 5 touchdowns to 1 interception, 93.3 yards. This is a guy who has shown us at the NFL level that every single year he's taken his job seriously, and he's literally improved. And the moment you take him away from the Bears nightmare of a freaking franchise, he went to the Steelers, and he took arguably his biggest steps in terms of quarterback rating, in terms of completion percentage, in terms of TD to interception ratio. I mean, he was on track to throw for damn near 4,000 yards in last season. I mean, granted, it's 17 games, so everybody can really throw it if they don't freaking...
He was not on track to throw for 4,000 yards last season.
In 5.5 games. threw for 1,106 yards.
Dude, he averaged, if you take out the Indianapolis game, he averaged 180 yards per game.
That's not how it works.
No, but it is, because it's an outlier. You can remove the outlier.
And you have no clue how many more outliers he'd have for the remainder of the season.
No, but I'm just talking about in statistics, when you're trying to find an average that actually is good, you remove the outlier. It's the same thing. I can say, okay, you remove his best game and his worst game, what's his average? So if you remove his best game, which is Indianapolis, and then remove his worst game, which is Denver, he's still only averaging 180 yards a game. That's not a good NFL quarterback. And like those stats that you showed also don't point to a good NFL quarterback. What we're talking about is a bad quarterback who got slightly less bad as the years went on. 1,800 yards in year one, even in Chicago, that's not a good NFL quarterback. That's not enough. And he played all of those games. In 2022, 2,200 yards. Okay, he got an extra 400. That's still not good enough from a quarterback. And then in 2023,
between 2021 and 2023, who was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL?
And so he doesn't add to that. He's not a part of that problem. We just watched the Chicago Bears, and we could actively look at Caleb Williams and said, dude, a ton of those sacks are on him. We watched 4 years of Zach Wilson and be like, yeah, no, a ton of those sacks are on him. Yeah, a ton of those sacks are on Justin Fields. Justin Fields not a good quarter. 61.1 career completion percentage.
Have
you
ever watched the Chicago Bears? I don't know if you've watched the Bears games. I mean, I've had to, because the wife is a Packers fan. Like, the dude was running for his life at the snap.
And a lot of that was his own doing.
There was no they were one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL.
Totally. And I'm not arguing or trying to say that they were one of the best, but there is a difference from having a ton of sacks and they're all on you, and a ton of sacks and they're all on the offensive line. They're fundamentally different things. Zach Wilson took a ton of sacks. A lot of those sacks, and we were not a good offensive line, were on him. We both watched those games. And Zach Wilson, who got sacked a ton, was, at fault for most of those sacks, because he would run into the pressure. And that's what Justin Fields does, dude.
Thank you, Miguel. I appreciate you. So I got a question for you. So of the individuals available for the New York Jets this offseason, who do you want to go with? Like, what quarterback do you look at and you think to yourself, this guy's going to take us to the playoffs?
Dude, there's none of them. That's the problem.
Perfect. None of them.
None of them.
So,
if you want an actual answer of who gives us the best opportunity to win a ton of games next year, there are two correct answers. I hate both of these answers. So let me be very, very clear. I hate both of these answers. But the correct answers are Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr. Now, why Kirk Cousins? Because he would cost you no money, and we saw what Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff athletically provide you very, very similar skill sets. So if Tanner Engstrad can operate a Detroit running the ball offense, Kirk can operate on that offense. I don't like that option, but that's a real option there. And the only reason I say Derek Carr is because while small, there is at least an opportunity that we can convince Devontae Adams to stay if Derek Carr comes. It's tiny situation. I'm talking like 1%, and that's the only reason Derek Carr is on that list. The right answer is, if you can guarantee me 7 games of Tyrod Taylor, let's ride. Let's ride. I'm going with Tyrod. But you're not going to get 17 games out of Tyrod. So
listen, I'm with Infrared on this one. I get it. We are definitively in quarterback purgatory. That's just unfortunately who we are. But I don't know if Kirk Cousins or if Derek Carr really elevate your chances to win games. I think that we kind of know what those guys are. We've seen their ceiling. I'm saying I don't think we've seen Justin Fields' ceiling yet. We just haven't seen it. So as much as you look at him and you're like, oh no, 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 we know what Derek Carr is. We know what Kirk Cousins is. We didn't see Justin Fields play a full season last year, and on the Bears, as I stated, he improved year in and year out, and it wasn't because the Bears got better. It's because he found a way to make himself better. Listen, for me, bring in the guy who can go ahead and pretty much rush for 1,000 yards in the season, and we'll have the freaking a run game out of this world between him, Brees Hall, Brandon Allen. It'll at least be exciting. Defense does its thing.
Win you consistently.
I don't think we're going to win many games this season,
so
no matter what.
Case,
like I think there's this misconception that the Jets are going to be a playoff team this year. I don't think that's the case. I think this season showed us one thing, and that we're further away than what we thought we were. We weren't one piece away. Granted, you and I talked about it. There were some wins we could have had if we had better coaching and the special team showed up. I feel that, but I don't think we would have got freaking our doors blown off first round of the playoffs. I didn't think this team was going to be the playoff team after what we witnessed last year. But we would have made it. We would have gotten there, right? And we could at least be like the Dolphins and celebrate arriving and getting kicked out because we didn't belong. I think the fact of the matter is, you just said it beautifully. I don't think there is a quarterback in this particular free agency or this draft that's going to impact this team to be a playoff caliber team.
I think you started right. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. There isn't a quarterback available that will impact this team in a positive way. There isn't one. There isn't a quarterback that you look at and go, that kid's got traits. Maybe he was just in the wrong. There is. If you really want to have that conversation, there is a quarterback that's available that's got traits, but we shouldn't touch him. And that's like Zach Wilson, because of course not. But like, he's already mentally broken. Unlike Fields, who's mechanically broken. I think people are listening to what I'm saying and then pointing at things that don't address what I'm saying with Justin Fields, because everyone's just like, oh, no, but Justin Fields is on the Chicago Bears. Totally. What does Chicago have to do with his throwing motion that he's been doing for the last 15 years? His throwing motion is what's broken. His throwing motion is what leads to the inaccuracies. People like to be, but he got better, but his throwing motion is bad. It's been 4 years in the NFL, and not a single coach has been able to fix it. That's the difference. People like to bring up, it took Geno 7, 8, 9 years, and it's just like, yeah, Geno's problem wasn't his throwing motion. Geno's problem was processing speed. That was Geno's issue, and getting his jaw broken by a teammate. Sam Darnold's issue wasn't his throwing motion. Sam Darnold's issue was his processing speed. That's why he went to San Francisco. He went to quarterback rehab. If you're a quarterback with some upside and you need to fix yourself, go to San Francisco. Like, that's where he should go. Maybe Kyle can fix his throwing motion. Like, my biggest thing is why don't you see other teams with elite offensive minds talking about Justin Fields? If he's available and he's all this, and he's got all this upside, why is it that the Giants aren't connected to Justin Fields? Dable helped fix Josh Allen, and there's a perfect example of a guy who can fix a bad quarterback. Why aren't the Giants connected to him? The Rams are about to move on from Stafford, and the Stafford appears like he's going to the Giants, if we take the rumors to be seriously in February, which we shouldn't. Why aren't the Rams linked? Sean McVay is the offensive mind. Why isn't he linked? Like, let's not pretend like Justin Fields is this guy with upside.
The two things you just brought up is Giants are going to pick their quarterback in this draft class, and I think they're going to take Sanders, if I'm being honest. And then you've got freaking McVay with Matthew Stafford, so I don't think they're in a quarterback situation. They don't need a quarterback
Stafford's
right now.
out. Stafford's going to leave. They're not going to pay Stafford.
All indications they're going to restructure that contract.
All indications from a lot of really, really smart people who are like Daniel Jeremiah made a tweet, because we'll talk about it later on in the show. If you look at Daniel Jeremiah's latest mock, the Giants don't take a quarterback. And when he was directly asked, whoa. why aren't the Giants taking a quarterback in your mock draft? Do you know what his response was? Was a picture of Matthew Stafford. All signs point to Stafford out of LA. All signs point to Stafford out of LA.
We're gonna get to the Jeremiah mock because I looked at that thing too, and that thing does not look remotely feasible. Some of the people he got dropped.
No, I agree.
We'll get to that in a bit.
It's a crazy
yeah,
mock.
It's off
it
the
is,
wall.
But he's not
of a mock draft.
He's not the only person who's really well connected that I've heard that from. And where there's smoke, there's fire. And that's my thing. You're seeing these really, really, really good offensive minds. No one is talking about Fields. Kellen Moore just won a Super Bowl, is headed to New Orleans. They're not linked to Justin Fields. We know they're moving on from Derek. But like, so it's just, you get what I'm saying? Like, there aren't, the right answer, honestly, the right answer is Tyrod Taylor, Jordan Travis, and then like, is like Heineke. And then you just have like a three-headed average monster
just need
trying to win as very few games as possible.
Bro. The Jets need to draft a quarterback in the mid rounds of this draft class. I'm on that bandwagon now that if you don't have a quarterback, you draft one in every single draft until you do. I don't think any of these quarterbacks have a first round grade for me. I don't see any of them being first round worthy. But you can snag one of those guys in the third or the fourth, you know what I'm saying, to potentially compete with a Jordan Travis. And like a guy like Jordan Travis right now, I think we all need to remember he didn't practice last year, and apparently he wasn't healthy enough to even get on the field. I was talking to Connor earlier on his show, and he even brought up some very good points in terms this regime has no loyalty to him.
Of course not.
There's a very good chance that after next year he might not even be on this roster anymore. Like, so there's no guarantees for his future either. So I think you look at building up the quarterback room, and you look at one of these guys in the mid rounds maybe, and you go ahead and you snag you one, because I think next year is where you want to go ahead and go heavy and trade the farm for a quarterback if we're smart. I'm terrified that this Jaxson Dart thing might actually have some legs, and after talking to you about it, now I'm starting to find myself getting in a paranoid state that they might make this horrendous mistake and bring this dude in with the 7th overall pick. And no, I'm not going to speak that into existence, but there's concerns that with the noise coming out of it's not going to happen. We're not going to do Jaxson Dart. We're not going to wish that into existence. But Jaxson Dart is the next person we're going to talk about. So Justin Fields, obviously a no for you. I'd be okay with bringing in Justin Fields on a cheap contract, having him compete with Tyrod Taylor and Jordan Travis. I think between Justin and Tyrod, we might get a full 17-game season. We should see some exciting runs. I think Tyrod Taylor is probably. Honestly, I think Tyrod Taylor is probably the best quarterback available for the Jets for next season.
It's a sad state of affairs.
If he could stay healthy, I think Tyrod Taylor is good enough to go ahead and make. Yeah, I think Tyrod Taylor over a 17-game season could get us to 9 games. I just don't think Tyrod Taylor can do 17 games.
Dude, a stiff wind comes off of that MetLife, comes off of that comes out of the northeast. A stiff breeze comes in over, boom, broken legs. He's out for the season.
Could be all he wrote,
if he
right?
sneezes too hard, is he going to puncture his lung? Like, come on, man.
So that to me, I think would be the direct route. But Jaxson Dart right now is getting a lot of static. There's a lot of rumors in regards to what's his name? We just stole him from Minnesota. Offensive. Gosh dang it! I'm having a brain fart. We just brought him into the building.
Who are you talking about? Coach?
The offensive specialist
Spielman.
we brought in from Minnesota.
Spielman. He's not an offensive specialist. He's the GM.
GM. Well, no, he's not the GM.
He's the GM.
Yeah. He's not. He's not the GM. But he seems to be a big fan of Jaxson Dart. Personally, I think it's smoke and mirrors. I don't think he's actually putting that out there because he's really excited about Jaxson Dart.
You got to look at the timing.
I think it's smoke and mirrors.
Look at the timing.
And
when he made those comments, he wasn't employed by the Jets. When he made those comments, he was at the Senior Bowl. He wasn't employed by anybody. He was a free agent. He could just speak his mind.
I think you're being very naive if you don't think he was already in the conversations of contract negotiations for being a part of the Jet staff.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
that wasn't already in the works.
when he did the interview, it was on his own pod. It wasn't even an interview. It was his own podcast, and he had no allegiances or anything to anything. He had to walk back those comments. He did it the very next week, where he was like, when I made those comments that weren't in regards to the New York Jets, who I'm like, he stopped doing his podcast because of it. When he made those comments, that wasn't smoke and mirrors. He wasn't employed by anybody. Whether the conversations were happening, you and I have both had conversations with companies and it didn't work out. We had no idea if it was going to end up. At the time when he made those comments, I think it's naive to just discount them as smoke and mirrors. He wasn't employed by the New York Jets. This was after Darren Muji was hired and before he was hired. He was a free agent. He could say whatever he wanted, and he raved about.
If the New York Jets are seriously contemplating Jaxson Dart with a 7th overall pick, we might as well throw away being serious. Just throw it away. Like, there's no scenario in which you watch this kid play and you think to yourself, you know what? Yeah, that's him. He's going to be the guy that takes us to the promised land. He's going to be the guy that competes with Josh Allen in the division. Like, it doesn't compute to me, and I have to believe that there's no way we bring in a guy who just came from the Vikings, who was adamant and all in on the Justin Fields pick, who I believe has made some wise choices, at least in other position groups, not so much when they came to the quarterback, that you look at freaking Jaxson Dart and you're thinking to yourself, that's the guy. But you're right.
How do I say this about Jaxson Dart because I am not a Dart dope. Let me be very clear here. I get he will be a first-round pick, and I get why. When you watch his tape, there are things there that you look at and you go, oh, that's a big-time throw. Oh, that's a big-time moment. And there are things there where you go, okay, that's an NFL quarterback. Here's the problem. The New York Jets are not in a position to take Jaxson Dart. That's the problem. You know what Jaxson Dart is? Jaxson Dart is a guy that you come back into the first round to go get because you want the 5th-year option. And if you're thinking about doing that with a quarterback, there are 3 criteria, in my opinion, that need to be satisfied for you to consider doing that. Number 1, the kid needs to have an elite trait. It's number 1. An elite trait. Whatever it is, whether it's athleticism, arm, has to have a singular elite
at least
trait. And moxie doesn't count because this kid is full of moxie. I love that word. You know what I mean? He's got aura. But outside of that, he doesn't provide you an elite trait. He has above average traits everywhere. But that's it.
I think he's got a big arm. I wouldn't call it elite.
He's got an above average arm. It's not an elite arm. It's not Zach Wilson.
It's not elite. It's not elite, no. But
that's what I'm saying. He's got to have an elite trait. Jaxson Dart doesn't have an elite trait. So that's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, whatever is fundamentally broken with the player needs to be something that can be fixed. So, like, what do I mean by that? Like, if your upper half and your lower half are disconnected, you can fix that with coaching. If it's your hips, you can fix that with coaching. But if you've got a janky-ass throwing motion, a la Justin Fields or Jordan Travis or Carson Wentz or like Tim Tebow, like those types of guys, can't fix that. It's almost impossible. These kids, by the time they get to the NFL, have been throwing that way 13, 14, 15 years, since they were kids. It's like rewiring your brain to write with your feet. Like, that's how complicated it is. So whatever is wrong can't be fundamentally broken. That works with him. The things that are wrong with Dart aren't fundamental things that you can't fix. So there's a positive there. And then the third thing is you need to have a succession plan in place. You need to have a quarterback that's going to start over him right now for a long time. We don't have 2 of the 3. He doesn't have one because he doesn't have an elite trait, and we don't have a succession plan. You can't be serious about Jaxson Dart. You just can't. You know what I mean? Because like Lamar went to a perfect situation. Why did he go to a perfect situation? Because Lamar had an elite trait. He was an elite athlete. And they had Joe Flacco. And there was no rush to get Lamar in. There was no rush. The Kansas City Chiefs, what did they take? What did they do? They traded up and they took Patrick Mahomes. What did Patrick Mahomes have?
Alex Smith.
An elite arm. And they had all of the other things. So like elite trait, the thing that was broken could be fixed, and they had a succession plan in Alex Smith. All three things met. Beautiful. Lamar Jackson with the Baltimore Ravens, elite athleticism, the thing that was fundamentally broken could be fixed, and they had a succession plan in place, and it worked. Jordan Love has slightly below elite arm, is what I'll say. Slightly below elite arm. The thing that was fundamentally broken could be fixed, and they had a succession plan in Aaron Rodgers, and it works. If you can hit all three of those things, it almost doesn't matter what quarterback you take. Like, if we're being honest, because you can make it work as long as you have those three things. We don't have those three things, and Jackson Dart is a big piece of that. Doesn't have one of them. Sorry for flicking everybody off. Like, he doesn't have that elite trait.
All right. So Jets Afterburner actually asked a good question for you, Tigo. Who is your pick at number 7? Like, what's the
at
move
number
for
7? Tet McMillan.
Yeah.
Tet McMillan. Run over women, children, everybody to get to the
grandparents.
Elbows out. You start just throwing
the
to
sick,
get to the
elderly,
podium.
The injured, doesn't matter. If he's there at 7, that's my guy.
You start throwing people out of the way, dude. Like, disrespectfully to get you.
And the reason why we say that Jets Afterburners is because of what I think I saw it earlier. Boom. Here we go. Because of what Infrared said, right? I think we do have more holes than we're willing to admit. We didn't see it because we saw the defense being top 5, the special teams being top 5. The quarterback play was so horrendous. We just thought to ourselves, damn it, man, get an average guy in the building, and this team is freaking AFC Championship bound. We realized that wasn't the case. So I don't think we're in the position this draft to go ahead and move up and give up capital for anybody. This is not an all-in season, perfectly stated. I think you fill in the gaps by trading. Well, I don't think anyone's going to trade back with us. That's the thing, right? I don't know if this isn't one of those draft classes where you look at it and you're like, unless you're Abdul Carter, honestly, I think that's the guy that, like, if he's available or he drops, somebody would trade assets to move up.
Hear me out. Okay. What if I told you that there is an NFL franchise out there with an owner who's absolutely horrible, who also runs his team and likes to consistently make idiotic moves that you could maybe convince to come to 7?
I mean, Jerry Jones would be coming up for what?
Think about it. What is Jerry Jones coming up for? You know the answer. I didn't even tell you the team. You knew it was the Cowboys. Think about it for half a second.
100%.
Think about it for half a second. Think about his division and who's available in this draft. The Dallas Cowboys. Who is he coming up for?
Who's the running back coming out? That
bro, I didn't even have to tell you. You walked yourself to
Ashton G. Yeah.
The only hope we have, honestly, is that you can convince Jerry to come up for Ashton Genty.
He could be dumb enough.
The only hope.
A very good
because,
point.
Because freaking, you could convince a lot of people that the Panthers, the Saints, and the Bears would all take a running back. I don't think they will, but they can. They definitely can. Like, especially if the big 3 are gone. If Carter, Tet, and Graham are all gone, now you're looking at it like because, and why I mean the big 3, I mean like the big 3 guys that could theoretically make it to 7. Because we all know Travis Hunter is going to be the first non-quarterback taken. I think that's a fair assessment.
100%. Yeah. Honestly, man, the more and more I'm looking at this, Carter, I think Abdul Carter might be better position of need. You're not wrong. You're right. Yep. I think Abdul might actually go. I think I'm crazy for this, but he might go.
No, I don't think you're crazy for that.
I think,
and that should scream. That should be a warning scream to everybody on the face of the planet. It's a new G. Oh, dude, it gets me so angry when I hear these things. Okay, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant. I'm sorry. The New York Jets were the only team that had a GM opening, and we twiddled our thumbs and we put our fingers in our nose and pulled them to the side, and we played catch and we jerked off into the toilet, and we didn't go hard at interviewing guys, and we let these other teams go out and fire their guys. We were the only show in town, and we had the pick of the litter, and everybody knew that the man whose services were going to be the highly sought after was going to be Borgonzi out of Kansas City. That was the guy. And instead of just going in and giving the guy a blank check, we're out here with Darren Muji, and I'm going to give him every opportunity. But who the hell is Darren Muji? What the hell have the Denver Broncos done that he's been a part of to be a part of that succession plan? Like, and so we let a guy who was in the building and helped draft Patrick Mahomes and create the dynasty that is the Kansas City Chiefs. We let him go to the Tennessee Titans because we sat here twiddling our thumbs and didn't want to operate like an actual NFL franchise. And then here's the kicker. That guy goes to the Tennessee Titans, who has the number 1 overall pick, who needs a quarterback. They need a quarterback. I liked Will Levis. He ain't it. Need a quarterback. And they're in a prime position to take one. And the guy that we could have hired, but instead we twiddled our thumbs and ended with Darren Muji, is passing on a quarterback at number 1. But we're going to trade up for that guy? The team that needs a quarterback is willing to leave the number 1 spot. But the Jets are going to go get that guy. Oh, I'm sorry for my rant. I'm sorry for getting heated.
No, but it's
like,
a very,
it's just.
I think that's a good way of expressing how there's no quarterback worth it in this draft class. And being the New York Jets, where we've sucked at drafting quarterback, I don't want to go ahead and be the one that gets laughed at because we traded assets to move up and draft the next bust.
And they just did Bo Nix last year.
And
I liked Bo Nix. At like pick 15, not trade up for Bo Nix. And that's what they did. And Sean Payton is a mastermind and got him to work.
It worked.
But it's just like, we don't have a Hall of Fame offensive guru. I'm heated. I'm sorry.
Jets Afterburner asked, man, why take a Project QB in the mid-rounds this year? We have so many holes that need to be addressed. I'll tell you why right now, Jets Afterburner podcast, because if you don't have the quarterback, it doesn't matter. If you take a flyer on some kid with upside in the mid-rounds, right? You know what I'm saying? Like a McCord. There's a couple of guys, actually, that I think
none of them have
might
NFL
surprise some of us. I disagree, man. The kid freaking is it McCord?
McCord's the one out of Syracuse.
I think it's Kyle McCord. Yeah, out of Syracuse, right? The dude, I think, is probably got the highest football IQ in this draft class, and I love his release. He's got a really fast release, and I think anywhere from that short to intermediate game, the kid don't miss. You're right. He doesn't have an elite arm, but he knows how to freaking get the ball there. That short to intermediate game, he understands how to get the ball in position for his freaking players to get going after the catch. He might be the Brock Purdy of this freaking group with the right coaching. I'm not saying we're that guy. I'm not saying we got the right coaching, but I think that a guy like McCord, a guy like Will Howard, Connor's really big on him. Big body dude, you know what I'm saying? Nice big arm. That you take a chance because you don't have the quarterback. And I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you have the perfect team. If you don't have the quarterback, it's never going to matter.
Can I make a point?
Matter. So
I'm sorry. I thought we're done.
Until you got the guy. No, until you got the guy, you draft one every year. Until you got the guy, you draft one every single year. And you hope maybe you get a spark from somebody with a mid-round guy. But next year, you throw everything at getting to number 1 if it needs be, because I think that's going to be the draft class where you want the option to be the number 1 overall pick. I think we've got some franchise talent coming out into the draft next season.
Can I just say it's going to be a few words that are going to get you to come to my side?
What's good?
You don't pass on Patrick Mahomes because you have Hackenberg.
100%.
Who did that? Who passed on Patrick Mahomes for Hackenberg because we had Hackenberg? What team did that? We all got their logo everywhere. It was the New York Jets. The reason you don't do that is because what happens when the kid has to come in, because we all know he's going to have to come in, and he has a Zach Wilson versus Tennessee game. What happens if he comes in for one game and he has a Zach Wilson versus Kansas City game? And now you're convinced, like all of us were, that that's the dude. And in the class that's going to have probably the most quarterbacks available that actually have upside, you're going to pass on that guy because you believed in the guy who does not have NFL starter upside because he showed you a flash in the pan. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Nick Foles was not and is not an NFL starting quarterback. You can have a flash in the pan. Don't put yourself in a position where that flash can burn you. Don't take the quarterback. Not in this class.
By your logic, you never draft Jalen Hurts then if you're the Eagles.
No. Because no. Ready? Because they are always planning on moving on from Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was mechanically broken. Look at his lower half, dude. Carson Wentz's inaccuracies and all of the problems with Carson Wentz was something that they were always worried about in Philly. This is rewriting history for the wrong reasons, because what did Jalen Hurts have? What were the three things we just talked about, Gunny? Elite trait, elite athleticism. The thing that was broken can be fixed, which it is, and you need to have a succession plan. They had Carson Wentz. That's why they took him, because Carson Wentz, his accuracy issues were because of his mechanics, and he refused to fix them. And also, Carson Wentz, huge dick. So you don't want to deal with that, so you move on. Like, why do you think they paid a ton of money for Nick Foles?
So you're telling me rather than risk finding a franchise guy in the third or fourth round, you don't do that.
Nope.
You just take the gamble.
There isn't one.
You take the gamble next year. And let's not pretend like, you know what I'm saying, that the most sure thing isn't a miss at the NFL level. Like, that's another thing too. All of these dudes are lottery picks. They're a lottery ticket, every single one of them.
Totally.
Even the ones with the greatest gift from God and talented as all can be can get to the league and just fizzle out. So the thought process of passing up on potentially finding a franchise guy because you're afraid that next year, when things are a lot shinier and prettier, we wouldn't draft the guy in that draft class. I think that's how you stay in purgatory, because
no.
we decide to trade the farm next year to move up to the number one pick, and let's say we get Archie Manning, and everything says this kid should be a freaking stud at the NFL level, and unfortunately it doesn't happen for us. But then somebody got drafted in the third or fourth round, winds up being a serviceable freaking starter in the league.
Here's the difference.
Now we're like, what's the difference?
Here's the difference. Mm-hmm. None of the guys in this class, except for two, show any promise. 2.5. Three, and it's two quarterbacks that fill up that third spot, right? None of the guys in this class show the upside of an average NFL starting quarterback. None of them.
Tigo.
And here's the thing, Gunny. When in the draft would you take this quarterback? Like, what round are you thinking?
I'm thinking third or fourth.
Okay, you know what you can get in the third round? A starting corner. You know what you can get in the fourth round? A starting right tackle. You know what you can get in the third round? A starting safety. You know what you can get in the third round or the fourth round? A starting tight end.
By your logic, yet again.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Tom Brady never happens. Tom Brady apparently
Tom
never
Brady
happens.
is an outlier.
But that's just what I'm saying. It is football. The majority of these guys are outliers.
No, they're not.
No sure thing.
No, because most of the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks that aren't named Tom Brady are first round picks, are guys with elite traits. In this NFL, in this day and age, name a quarterback that doesn't have an elite trait. Name one of them that's like pushing for Super Bowls. Which one that doesn't have an elite trait that's actually pushing for championships? Joe Burrow has an elite trait. Josh Allen has an elite trait. Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, they all have elite traits.
You don't think football IQ and accuracy is an elite trait? You wouldn't consider those elite traits?
Who in this draft class has high football IQ and elite accuracy? There's one answer, and I know you're not going to say his name.
It's not Sanders.
It is Shedeur Sanders.
No, it's not.
He has elite intermediate and short game accuracy and has elite processing speeds. The problem is you're not getting into bed with Dion.
He does not have elite processing speeds. You're doing too much with Sanders. that boy is mid.
I'm not saying he's elite. No. Those are the only two things that he does extremely well.
We're obviously not going to agree on the quarterback route. I'm going to.
It's like taking an Accord now. It's like you're going to take a Honda Accord right now.
Very reliable vehicle.
Totally. But the plan isn't to just get to work and back. You know what I mean? The plan is to go on the drag strip and hit a quarter mile. And you can do a lot of things to an Accord. But like next year at the same, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you're going to be able to afford it. You can get yourself like a Hellcat. And like Mopar cars aren't all that reliable, right? But you can figure it out. You can do some adjustments. You can do some things to get a Mopar car to be really reliable. There isn't enough work in the world that you're going to do to a Honda Accord to get it to go have 1,000 horsepower. You can get a respectable 500 horsepower out of an Accord, totally. But like the traits, that's what I'm talking about. You're right. It is a lottery pick, my guy, totally. But at quarterback, you swing on traits, not on you just take as many quarterbacks as you can. These aren't running backs. You should draft a running back every year. You should draft an offensive lineman every year. You should draft a defensive lineman every year. Totally. Not a quarterback. You get quarterback with traits.
All right. We're already almost done with the show. We haven't even gotten to the next stage of it. The Jeremiah mock draft. All right. So Jeremiah did his freaking mock draft. I think was it 2.0 or something like that. And he's got the New York Jets going at number 7. He's got us picking. Where's he at? Boom. There he is. He's got us picking freaking Tyler Warren. He claims, well, he doesn't claim. He states the Jets ranked second to last in rushing offense last season, and they desperately need another target in the passing game. Warren helps them improve in both of those areas. Listen, I'll go first. So Tyler Warren to me is the best tight end in this draft class. I'm a big fan, a huge fan. I think the dude is gritty. He brings a physicality to the game that would really be good on offense. It just don't really have physical players, enough physical players on the offense side of the football. I think Tyler Warren is a little bit nasty to him. He definitely is somebody I was high on. Definitely was high on early on in the season, right? But again, number 7 is a little rich for my blood. Now, the real reason why I look at this draft class and I thought, or this mock draft, and thought to myself, insane, is because the guy you should pick at number 7, that's also a big-bodied guy that's going to help, that's going to allow you to go ahead and be a monster target in the passing game. He's also a willing blocker as well. Is Tet, wide receiver. And he winds up going number 19 overall in this mock draft, which means the Jets had access to him. And he goes number 19 overall. And this is why I can't get behind this. At number 7, I do believe the Jets need to go offensive weapon. I think you need to go ahead and add another offensive component to this game. After Garrett Wilson in the passing game, it really is meek.
Zilch.
We have no clue what Malachi Corley is. Devontae Adams is pretty much out the door. Alan Lazard will probably be out the door as well. It's a very, very grim wide receiver room and tight end room. I think right now the tight end room needs work. I don't think we've got a true tight end one in the tight end room.
No, we only signed tight end we have is Rucker.
Is Rucker right now.
Yeah.
So for me, I although I like Tyler Warren, I think 7 is too rich. And if Tet is there, this is a massive mistake. And I think the boos would start coming if Tet was available and they went this route. What say you when it comes to Tyler Warren at pick number 7?
I get it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't get it, right? Because like there is an argument to be had that we have Garrett Wilson. This is a really deep wide receiver class. You can get Trey Harris in the 2nd or the 3rd round. And you can get Tyler Warren here in the 1st. And Tyler Warren provides you a better upside at tight end than all of the other tight ends that you're probably going to get. Whereas in like Tet McMillan, and I love Tet McMillan, he's not so far ahead of everybody else in this class that there's a big enough fall off. So like I understand where this pick is coming from. Like I get that. But like I don't like the pick. That's the thing.
Not there, man.
And
Not
it's
at
just
7.
No, exactly. And like and like for me it's like you said, there were other players available that I think were just better fits for the New York Jets. And the problem is that this is projecting the Detroit offense to the New York Jets. Like I think that's a big thing that people aren't doing. Detroit ran like some of the most 12 personnel in the NFL last year. So you need multiple tight ends. We don't have any. So like I would not be surprised if the Jets took 2 tight ends. And like the Lions, let's be honest, they kind of have like 1.3 wide receivers. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then between suspensions, you get, you get Smith. Between gambling suspensions, you get Smith for like 3 or 4 games before he's betting on another game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And their offense was still incredibly efficient. And like one of their most efficient people was Sam Laporta. And so like, I get it. I hate it, but I get it. You know what I mean?
No, I got you.
It makes sense. I hate it, but it makes sense.
The question is this, right? So if Tet's gone, Campbell's gone, Graham's gone, is this the move? I mean, I feel like it'd be hard to be upset at getting the number 1 tight end on our board, right?
Like, that's the thing. Like, the other moves aren't sexy moves. Like, the other moves are like Kenneth Grant. If you haven't watched Kenneth Grant, go watch Kenneth Grant. Yeah. He's incredibly good. And he is quite literally a perfect schematic fit for the New York Jets. But DT at 7? And he's not even the best DT in the class?
Yeah, no, that's rough.
You know what I mean? And then like the other one is like Mike Green, the edge out of Marshall. You're just like, whew, that kid's got traits out the ass.
Yeah.
But another edge in the first round, 3 years in a row?
3 years in a row?
Like, I know we were begging to take an edge rusher in the first round, but like, this is kind of an overcorrection, right? Yeah. And like, again, he's not even the best edge in the class. And then you go, all right, okay. And then you go, Will Johnson? I did not buy a Hellcat out of boot camp. I didn't have a car. Okay. I was married when I got out of boot camp, so I already had a car. Relax.
I had a Honda Accord. Oddly enough, it was a Honda Accord coupe.
1998 Honda Accord, my guy. I drove that thing until the engine literally blew up. And to be fair, it blew up because I was my wife said I could replace the car when that car died. Oh, bro.
Time to kill it. Whoa. One way or another, it had to go.
I was rough. I was at 8,000, 6,000, 7,000 RPMs the whole time trying to blow up that thing, dude. And then it bricked, and I jumped for joy, and I got my $500 from a junkyard. But like going back to it, it's just like this is the problem at 7 is if all of those guys are gone, Tyler Warren becomes the de facto best option because schematically he makes sense. Engstrad's going to use him in a big, big way. And like all of those things make sense where the other guys are just like, are you really going to take another edge? Dude, like Kelvin Banks, do we even know if he's a tackle at the next level? Like, and are we going to do that again? Like another offensive lineman in the first round? And it's just like every other team in the NFL can find guys in the 4th or the 5th. And it's just like another corner in the first round. We're really taking a 7, like a safety at 7. And you just run into this endless loop of,
it's never ending.
It's an endless loop of you're really taking a tight end at 7 when you had Brock Bowers last year, who is better than Tyler Warren, and you passed on that guy, so you're going to take him this year? For my mental health alone, we can't do this. I don't want to deal with the Bowers boys. Just for my mental health. Take Fannin. Yeah. Take Fannin in the 3rd.
Nah, you're right. The Bowers boys would have
can't for my mental
health.
I can't. For my mental health, we can't take Warren at 7.
Yeah, I look at it, man, and I think to myself that there's no scenario in which I can convince myself at 7 like this is a dub. Like I can't do it.
No, I'll get there. But it's
100%.
Oh, man, after weeks of dealing with the Bowers boys, we're all going to want to blow our brains out.
To go ahead and look at this as a positive, right? But this is why I looked at Jeremiah's freaking mock draft, and I was just like, what is going on right now? I feel like he's just phoning it in because I feel like there were opportunities to go ahead and really get in detail as to how it would pan out. And I don't buy a good portion of his mock draft. But again, he's a professional doing this. We do this from the weekends. You know what I'm saying? We're reservists when it comes to this. So he's the pro. But I don't see
us to take into consideration with Daniel Jeremiah that whenever he does his mock drafts, like this is the biggest thing, is he prioritizes position of need over best player available.
This is true.
Almost every single time. So like he is very, very intelligent and he's well connected into a lot of these buildings. So he knows what type of offense the Jets are running and how important a tight end is and the fact that we don't have one. So the pick makes sense. And all of the other picks that he made also make a ton of sense. It's just when you fundamentally start looking at it and you go like, Tet McMillan at 19, Ashton Genty at 21, you like like 3 running backs in the first round, Travion Henderson in the first round, Amika Ibuka at 25. In what world? You know what I mean?
That math ain't mathin'.
Like in what world? Malachi Starks at 32? What? Really? The Eagles get another draft steal? A guy who I have in the top 10 goes at 32? Bro, they already have the Great White Hope. We got to stop doing this.
I lose my mind. I would honestly lose my mind.
Dude, if they get Malachi Starks, I quit.
Nah, bro. Malachi Starks isn't making us out of the top 20. There's just no way.
Shouldn't make it out of the top 15.
It's safety. I could see somebody prioritizing one of the linemen ahead of them, but Malachi Starks is
I'm sorry, if you take special. A DB that isn't named Will Johnson, and then you don't take Malachi Starks, and you need a DB, you should be burned at the stake. Burned at the stake.
Well, so we've seen what Jeremiah thinks Jets are going to do. But there's a couple of other freaking mock drafts that I've pulled out where they've got the Jets doing other things, right? So let's go over these one by one. All right. So then we got this one from Cynthia Fruin at number 7. She's got us going Will Johnson. I mean, honestly, when you think about it, DJ Reed's going to be a free agent. Don't see him coming back. Sauce Gardner's going to be getting the bag. Wow. Like this next year, most likely we'll probably give Sauce Gardner the bag. So there's a lot to like about this pick because it does make sense. It is a position of need. I think he would be a nice fit, you know what I'm saying, to go ahead and be on the other side of Sauce, being the guy that covers number 2s and whatnot. He has potential to be a cornerback 1 in the NFL. But at number 7, how excited are you about Will Johnson?
Very, very.
Okay.
If we're being honest. If all of the other guys are gone, Will Johnson is an exceptional fit for the New York Jets. Like, he is a phenomenal athlete. He is easily the best DB in this class.
Yep.
And I mean easily the best DB in this class.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Should be a top 10 picks, but because he's a safety, should be a top 10 pick, but because he's a corner, and I think edge, this class is really loaded at edge. You're going to see a lot of the edges go first. But like, Will Johnson is an incredibly, incredibly good guy. The concern with Will Johnson, and this would be my biggest issue here, is Will Johnson is almost exclusively a zone coverage corner. And the Jets aren't going to be running zone as much as they did before. We're going to have man coverage snaps. And he's not all that great in man coverage. And so now you start having this conversation of just like, and good defensive coordinators adjust that. We saw that with Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich with Sauce Gardner. Sauce was a man coverage corner. That's why I thought it was wild that we were going to take him, because Saleh runs exclusively zone. He's a cover 3 guy. But you know what he did to make Sauce get man coverage snaps? He played quarter halves. He gave Sauce a half of a field to himself, because quarter halves is essentially zone on one side, man coverage on the other. Yeah. And so you can manipulate coverages to put guys into really, really good spots. But that would be my biggest concern here is just like schematically, how does he fit? But honestly, he's a really, really good player. But you just come back to that conversation of like, shit,
Yeah.
a cornerback at 7 again. Like we could have had Eccles. We could have had Eccles for like $4 million, and like not gone corner.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. A lot of these mock drafts that they've got mocking to us, it doesn't really, like you said, it's not exciting stuff.
Yeah, the math ain't math. You know what I mean?
It's not, man. NBC Sports got us taking Edge Mikael Williams. CBS got us taking Mike Renner. Like that. I'm sorry, number 7 has Will Campbell. Sorry, Will Campbell. Which I just, again, talking to Dom, when it comes to freaking Campbell, he feels he's more guard than offensive tackle.
He's not a tackle at the next level.
And at this point, we're hearing Morgan Moses is pretty much out the door. They're not looking to go ahead and keep him in the building, which makes zero sense to me. I don't like either of these picks. Yeah, man. I mean, the edge, Mikael, I get the upside. I understand the concept. He talks about Jermaine Johnson and coming off the Achilles injury. Hassan Reddick is definitely not going to be on the roster next season. I understand the importance, man, of the defensive line. I get it. I really do. But, man, I want offense. I do. When I look at this draft class, that first pick for me, I think it has to be offense. And if you have an opportunity or a way to get the wide receiver or the tight end, like I think you need to run up and you need to make that the pick. With the defense, we've got defensive minded head coach. We've got Steve Wilkes, who was our only experienced coach, you know what I'm saying, in the building, who's done a pretty good job as a defensive coordinator. I'm actually not too worried about our defense falling off. I think that we've got some elite level talent on the defensive side of the football.
Yep.
I think with better coaching, you're going to go ahead and see those guys step their game up this season. There's holes, obviously, we need to fill, and I get that. But on the offensive side, I'm concerned because we've got a rookie offensive coordinator. We've got no quarterback really identified. Tyrod Taylor, is he going to give us 7 games or 17? I'm going to bet more so on the 7. And our head coach, again, comes from the defensive side of the football. I want to make offensive progression as easy as possible for the offense.
That's why I think we're seeing. That's why I personally, because I didn't want you to keep going for just really quickly. That's why I think the pick at 7 is going to be defense.
I think that's insane, man. How does that make sense? How does that correlate to defense to you?
Because I need you to. It's a long walk for a small drink of water, so I'll try to make it as quickly as possible. But like it's first-time offensive coordinator, first-time QB coach, first-time offensive line coach. Like they've never had these positions before at the NFL level or at any level outside. Like ancient called play. If you look at our entire offensive coaching staff, it's full of guys that are wildly inexperienced. Wildly inexperienced. And if you're Aaron Glenn and if you're Steve Wilkes, that's the experience. Who are you going to give the young guys to? You're going to give it to the guys with the experience. So I think it is more likely, and I'm going to do a little shameless plug here. I have a full mock off season coming out this week where we're going to explore this idea. So subscribe to the Talking Jets with Tigo channel if you want to see that. Shameless plug done. We're going to explore this idea of, well, you need a right tackle. Go get one in free agency. Because then you don't have to have a first-time offensive line coach, period, coaching up a rookie offensive lineman. You got a veteran who knows how to play. Can come right in and can just play. You just got to teach him your scheme. Don't go and get a rookie tight end. I'm not saying not to take Tyler Warren, but like because like we don't have a tight ends coach that like you should have faith that can develop a tight end because well like he's never done it before. And don't take the wide receiver because well you could take the wide receiver because we have a wide receivers coach that's been doing it for a long time. That's besides. But you get what I'm saying? Like. Give this offensive coaching staff just veterans to operate, especially in year 1, while they're figuring out how to do their positions. Because I have more faith that Steve Wilks and Aaron Glenn, both being defensive guys, can handle the workload of saying we need 5 players on the defense. We need 5. We need 2 safeties, interior defensive lineman, a corner, and a linebacker. We need 5 spots on the defense. And we need what, like 3 or 4 spots on the offense? 1, 2, 3 spots on the offense, right? I think you give the money that you have allocated to those offensive guys because they're going to make the transition easier. And then you can say, me and Wilks can make 2 rookie safeties work. Me and Wilks can make interior defensive lineman in the 5th round. We can make him work. We can make a rookie corner work. Like we're the veterans. Like we got this. I know how to coach. Like you don't. I've been a DC. He is a DC. We've both been head coaches. We got this. Don't worry about the defensive side of the ball. Give us all the rookies that you can. We're going to give the offensive side as many veterans. Does that make sense at all?
I see what you're saying. I do. But I think this is why I would look at it on the opposite side, is that the defensive side does have the experience. They do have the know-how, and I think that they can get more out of having to coach up somebody or get more out of a kid, you know what I'm saying? So I would rather go the offensive route for, you know what I'm saying, the high percentage or high ceiling talent that's going to make the transition to the NFL easier on the offensive side of the football. I don't think we're going to go ahead and get a
remember,
T.
in this world, Tet's gone. Tet's gone in this world that we're talking about. So that's why I'm saying, if Tet is gone, which I think he will be, get used to the idea of taking Kenneth Grant, of taking Will Johnson, of taking Mike Green, of taking Michael Williams, because that logically, I think, makes the most sense. Man, you have more holes on defense. It's just Jimmy Jets, yes. The point is that you would spend free agent money on offensive side of the ball, and then you would, because there's guys available like that. You go get Kevin Zeitler to be your right guard. You bump AVT out to right tackle. Now you bring in a veteran who doesn't need to be taught the system and can be another coach in that room to help the offensive line coach figure out how to do his job. Your offensive line is going to be squared away. You're going to be paying Tyler Conklin $4 million to not play on your football team, according to the cap hit. So you might as well just give him 9 to play for your team. And then now you've got at least a tight end. And then it's just like Slayton's not going to cost that much money in free agency. Like you can go get Slayton. And now you've just addressed right tackle, tight end, and wide receiver in free agency without spending all that much money. And now you just go get safety, corner, linebacker, interior defensive lineman, another safety, and you just give this defensive staff a ton of young guys and you say, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. I'm not saying I love this plan. I'm just saying it makes sense logically. And my mental health doesn't have to deal with the Bowers boys. That's a big deal.
A lot of these mock drafts, I think, they haven't been fun. They haven't been fun mock drafts, right? They're I can say concerning on some levels. I mean, you've got freaking this one right here where they've actually identified as, potentially Jaxson Dart sneaking up to be the potential pick for the Jets. I don't know, man. I think this whole offseason is going to be very, very it's going to be painful. I think it's going to be painful because there isn't really a direction you can look at and think to yourself as a fan, like, all right, this is what the Jets need to do this season. It seems like we need a little bit of everything. No, we don't have enough money.
Nope.
And we're picking 7, which doesn't really put us in a prime position to go ahead and really knock out one of those needs with an elite pick. It's going to be one of those things where we're going to really see what our general manager and our head coach and that scouting department, the kind of A game they really bring to the table, because this offseason and this draft class is going to dictate whether or not the Jets kind of get the retooling right.
Yep.
We go through a shitty season most likely this coming year, And next season, you know what I'm saying? Boom, we trade the farm for the draft for the freaking quarterback. We, you know what I'm saying? We start putting it all together. We'll have more money in free agency. And that's when we should expect, okay, now we're gonna see the direction this team is really gonna be headed. So it's officially it's the offseason. This is the offseason. This is just the early mock drafts, early rumors being pushed around. We're going to see a lot more of this stuff throughout the the offseason. But this is the fun time of year for us as Jets fans. Like, this is the time of year where we get to actually have hope, right? Just have hope in the process and hope that it's done right. And I know right now, I think the majority of us are in agreement that, just sticking with Tyrod Taylor as the quarterback for this year's draft. I say you bring in a Justin Fields or you bring in a mid-round guy. Freaking Tigo's like, nah, just see what freaking Jordan Travis has.
I don't want Jordan Travis to play. That's not, bro.
No, I'm saying in terms of quarterback in general, you don't think there's anything really worth out there bringing into the building that's going to really help. And I think
want to throw
right.
league minute Tyler Heineke and have a good time. You know what I mean? Go get Jameis Winston and have a camera follow around him.
Jameis Winston would be fun.
Dude, I want Jameis Winston just for the Jameis Winston show.
It's in defense. So, yeah, Jimmy Jets says in a nutshell, you're saying focus on offense and free agency, defense in the draft.
Basically. But I took 8 minutes to say it because I'm me.
Oh, Jimmy seems to be on board with this plan. I mean, there's some merit to it.
I just think it makes the most sense. But like it's a double-edged sword, right? Because that would be the best plan for this year. But what that forces you into is next year, when you're making that trade up for the quarterback, you go back to having some of these holes because you're gonna fill them with temporary solutions this year.
Yeah.
And now you're not gonna have all the assets that you have. And so, like, it's this weird balance that you find. Like, you could theoretically, like, you could give another guard like a 3-year deal. You can do that. And it makes sense. And like I think Conklin's going to get another 3-year deal. So again, like so tight end doesn't immediately become a need again. And like I think Slayton probably gets like a 3-year deal. So like again, you can run into these little things where you're just like, okay, maybe it doesn't become a need, but you just like Kevin Zeitler's like 32, and I think he's the guy that we should target. He's going to get a 1-year deal. So like you're right back at the guard hole next year. You're right back there. And like, while I have faith in Max Mitchell, and that's just blind faith in Max Mitchell, I don't think the Jets or really anybody should. I met Max Mitchell's dad in my first ever New York Jets home game. So I'm all in. And that's the guy I wanted pre-draft, and freaking health got in the way of his career. So I'm always going to have blind faith with that guy. But it's just, yeah, dude, this is going to be the first time in a long time where I don't think we're going to have fun in the offseason for the draft.
I mean, honestly, that might be what we need, right? We've been winning the offseason for too long, and it's resulted in nothing in the regular season. Maybe catching the L in the offseason this year might change.
And I'm not saying we're going to get a bad player. Like, we've got to be very clear here. It's just that we're not going to get the player that we want. That's the thing. No, Ted's not going to be there.
I think
Abdul Carter's not going to be there.
I think there's a chance Ted is. I really do. I think there's a chance that Ted is. I'd say 20% chance he falls to us, and if he does, I would say 20%, man. Because I just think with the quarterback needy teams, where both quarterbacks are gone before they get to 7. Shedeur and
I'm going to say something.
Abdul Carter is gone.
I'm going to say something that you're going to be like, what? What the hell? I think that there is a higher likelihood that a quarterback gets to us at 7 than Ted McMillan getting to us at 7. I think that there is a higher likelihood that Cam or Shedeur make it to 7 than Ted making it to 7. The teams ahead of us, every single one of them needs a wide receiver. It's because like let's just go through the list. Tennessee probably take Abdul Carter, but like they need a wide receiver. And if they pass on a quarterback, like Ted makes a lot of sense, but he shouldn't be the first player taken. The Browns don't need a wide receiver. They're the only team that doesn't need a wide receiver. So okay, I'll give you that. Giants need a wide receiver to catch passes. They need they got Malik Neighbors
last year. They're not going to draft a wide receiver.
But like, dude, they're about to lose 3 wide receivers in free agency, and like all they have is, and like if you go like theoretically, like if you go and get Stafford, McMillan makes a ton of sense because then you got Neighbors and you got McMillan. I'm not saying that.
I don't see a scenario in which he goes there. I don't. Because you Malik Neighbors last year, so you're talking about because then you did a 5th-year option, and then that's in back-to-back years. You would already be planning to potentially lose that first-round pick after 5 years.
Not necessarily.
I don't see them going that route.
Not necessarily, because you could
you could freaking franchise tag him.
You can franchise tag him, like because like the Bengals are in this
I think
situation.
that's a reach.
I think the Bengals are upset with taking Higgins, the other guy, and then Chase. What is the other guy's name? Why am I forgetting the other guy's name? What were their 3 wide receivers?
Because it's pretty much Higgins.
No, who's the other one? He left this year. Went to Tennessee. Green Bean wanted him. Chat, help me out. Why am I forgetting his name? It was Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. There was a third guy. He played in the slot. He was a big slot. They were taking in consecutive draft classes.
What?
What's his name? Chat got me. Give me a second. Chat will get me.
Yeah, somebody will
But like,
that. All right, so after
the Giants could take it. The Patriots desperately need a wide receiver. They also desperately need an offensive lineman. But Tyler Boyd, Jimmy Jets is my guy. They took Tyler Boyd in the draft. Then they took T. Higgins in the draft. Then they took Jamar Chase in the draft. That trio took them to a Super Bowl without an offensive line. So like, all I'm saying is we live in a day and age where you need more than one wide receiver one.
But there's no quarterback on the Giants staff.
If they get Stafford, I'm telling you, bro.
Stafford
is Stafford's not
with
going
no
back
offensive
to the
line.
Rams.
Stafford is going to die with the Giants. He's immobile. The guy's not moving. We just saw that a mobile quarterback is how you get to the Super Bowl in this past draft.
The way you get to
freaking Matthew Stafford will die.
He will die
if he goes to the Giants. They're not a quarterback.
I don't think they are. I
You're
didn't say that.
Matthew Stafford to come over there.
I didn't say that. What the point?
They're on the verge of getting
fired.
There
it is. They're desperate.
So why would Matthew Stafford put his last couple of years in? I'm a free agent. I'm not going over there.
Bro, he's not winning a ring anymore.
Pay me all you want to.
He's won his ring.
Matthew Stafford is balling out of control. You think he's going to he's going to come to the Giants to get beat up week in and week out? Nah, I think there isn't a scenario on the planet where the Giants are going to take Ted.
No.
They need offensive line, they need quarterback, they need defensive. They are gutted, and then you just watch freaking your first round pick from 4 years
exactly, bro. But that's the point, dude.
Bro.
What I'm saying is I think you're saying all of the things of why that would make sense. This coaching staff and this GM are desperate. They just passed on let's be honest, the MVP. He should be the MVP, but it's a quarterback award at this point. He should be the MVP. He should have been the MVP, the offensive player of the year, the defensive player of the year. Saquon Barkley did history. You just watch that guy leave and win a Super Bowl for your division rival. You're already on the brink of getting fired. So you throw the bag at Matthew Stafford. You go and get another big name wide receiver in Ted McMillan. And then, like you said, they need a quarterback. They addressed that with Matthew Stafford. They need an offensive tackle. You can still do an offensive tackle. Nothing's stopping you from doing an offensive tackle in the second round.
They need an offensive line.
No, they just need they need a tackle. They need a right tackle.
Tigo, they were the 28th ranked offensive line in football last year. There wasn't a single player on that O-line that ranked 80 or higher freaking per PFF. It's a bad line. Dog.
Matthew Thomas.
He played what? 8 games last year?
Like he played dude, but that's the point. The point is that he was hurt. Andrew Thomas missed a ton of time last year. And like John Michael Schmitz again had no help on the interior. Boy, what he's looking like he's a bust, and we walked away with
he's looking like a massive bust, and I wanted him so bad. Now I'm like,
and we got the better guy in Tittman.
And this is why I'm a reservist when it comes to this analyzing talent thing, because I wanted JMS bad. I thought he was can't miss.
I didn't think he was can't miss. I had him and Joe Tittman close, but I had JMS. I thought it was like I had JMS with the possibly going in the first grade. I had them both with like second, but JMS might go in the first. But like I think that
You know what? We're gonna do a mock draft on the next show. I think we're gonna do a mock draft because now I'm kind of curious to see where your mind's at.
I'm not saying
I'm
that they
gonna go
do
ahead and
it.
see if I can get
I'm
a
not
couple
saying
more.
right now.
No.
Right
I
now,
get
it's
that.
not
I
the
get
smart
that.
move. But like anything can happen in free agency, dude. If they trade, they trade for Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford now comes in. You trade a 5th round pick for Matthew Stafford. You give him the bag. You go out in free agency, and now you say, "All right, we're here. We're gonna do this thing." You go out in free agency if you're the Giants, and you go, Ronnie Stanley, come on down. Cam Robinson, come on down, because then that bumps Evan Neal inside to right guard. And then in the second round, you get your left guard. And now you've got something there on the offensive line, right? That's 2 picks. And now you look at it and you go, you know what's really, really good in this class in free agency? DBs. DJ Reed, he's going to get paid. Travarius Ward, he's going to get paid. Carlton Davis, Asante Samuel, Byron Murphy, Mike Hilton. Like, there's a lot of really good cornerback free agents. And then the safety class is insane too. Javon Holland, Talanoa Hufanga, Cameron Bynum, Justin Reed, Harrison Smith. He's old. Don't get Harrison Smith. Like, look, it's wild to say that they're going to go wide receiver. But to say that it's outside of the realm of possibility, I'm sorry, you throw $40 million at Mo Rig and Carlton Davis, respectively. Bro, they might come. You throw $18 million at Ronnie Stanley, he might come. And you're desperate. You have to win this year or you're fired. You're going to do that to Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward? Really? Look, is Mara going to let them make that pick? You're not going to be here to develop this guy. You don't. Everybody keeps talking about them taking a quarterback. Mara's not a dumb owner. I don't think he's going to give a GM on his last leg an opportunity to take a quarterback that he's not going to be here to develop.
Saquon Barkley walk out the door.
Yeah. And then watched him win a Super Bowl.
He's pretty stupid.
Is it Bean? What's his name?
Your best player. And they gave Daniel Jones the bag. That's a pretty dumb organization, if you ask me.
That's what I'm saying. You're not going to let that organization take another shot at a quarterback in the draft?
Listen,
I'm not saying it makes sense, but I'm also saying it doesn't not make sense.
I think this is one of those Tigo rants because Tigo just loves to argue. This is definitely
no, but this isn't even me arguing. It's just this is
one of
Galaxy
those
brain it. Put the tinfoil hat on. Throw logic out the window.
In which Tet goes there. I don't think they draft Tet. I don't think you go back-to-back years first round wide receiver when you're the Giants and you've got holes at quarterback, you've got a hole at freaking offensive line, you've got holes on defense. You're not one player away. You're not two. You're a ways away. And in your division is the Super Bowl champs. If you want to go ahead and get serious, do what the champs did. Build the offensive line and the defensive line because that's what those boys rode into the Super Bowl. And you heard Saquon talk about it constantly. Man, getting behind a real offensive line really helped my game. He was very vocal about that shit all year. I think time will tell. Time will tell.
I'm just saying they don't have the time.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. But
so they don't have the opportunity to do the Eagles thing. The Eagles have been doing this since the 80s.
How does a wide receiver help them keep their jobs?
Bro, because I'm going to run it back really quick.
No, we're not. It's 8:34. I'm 9:34. I'm going to bed.
The whole point was if you get a quarterback and a tackle, you fix those two positions. And if you get two DBs in free agency, all of your holes are filled in free agency, and a wide receiver getting open is going to be more help to this team than anything else. That's the point. And Tech McMillan is always open. You need pass catchers regardless. They're going to take a wide receiver in this class. Whether it's in the first round or the second round, they're going to take one. They only have Malik Neighbors. You don't win with just one wide receiver. We're talking about taking Tech McMillan, but we have Garrett Wilson. Why would we take another wide receiver? Because you need pass catchers.
Garrett Wilson was also drafted 3 years ago.
What does that matter? We talked
Our
about the
offensive
Cincinnati
line
Bengals.
is pretty much built. Our defensive line has edge rushers, a defensive tackle that's a all pro. Like we got an all pro at second in the secondary. Like we are nowhere near in the same boat as the Giants. Like in terms of talent lacking. Zoe says it beautifully. Giants are in a worse shape than we are. We bring in a guy like freaking Ted. We can go ahead and fill some of the holes we currently have via free agency and the rest of the draft. Next year is the year that I think that we would find our quarterback. You at this point for the Giants, a wide receiver would be a luxury pick. I don't think Matthew Stafford is going to go there. I think he would probably be vocal about not wanting to go there for his final freaking couple of years, especially if he can go anywhere else that needs a quarterback that are in a much better position, in my opinion, than the freaking. I mean, the Steelers make more sense for Matthew Stafford if we're talking about.
I totally agree. I just don't think
right.
they're
So
going to be in on him.
I don't.
But like, dude,
I don't see it.
I think you're sleeping on the. I think you're sleeping on the Giants a little bit. Dexter Lawrence was like the second best interior defensive lineman last year. Brian Burns was a stud last year. They drafted Kayvon Thibodeau the same year we drafted Jermaine Johnson. What?
Brian Burns fell off a lot last year, actually.
No. He wasn't the Brian Burns of the, but like he still had a really productive year on a bad team. Kayvon Thibodeau had a productive year on a bad team. Andrew Phillips was a star corner for them this year. Like they're not so far off. Like I think a lot of people are like writing off the Giants. I'm not saying they're a quarterback away. That is not what I'm saying. But like, dude, they're desperate. Desperate. What is it? Like a cornered animal is its most dangerous because it'll do anything to get out. They know they don't have a job at the end of the year unless they win. Regardless of if we think they're a quarterback away, they have to fundamentally believe they're a quarterback away. It's gonna get them fired. I'm just saying. But that's where their mindset is at. We gotta stop looking at this like as GMs with multiple year plans. GMs, like a lot of them don't have that. They don't have the time. Muji has time. Muji can win 2 games this year. No, he's not going to get fired. So he can make the unsexy pick like Graham at 7. He's not going to get fired. They can't make the unsexy pick. They need to do something to win now. Well, and they're not going to, and everyone's going to get fired. And so I think that was the point.
That's the show for tonight, y'all. Every time Tigo gets on here, man, we always go at least 30 minutes over the hour mark. Last week I told him, like, hey, we're going to do 30 to 45 minutes, man. I got to jump off. Hour and 30 minutes later, we were still freaking chopping it up. But, yo, Tigo, again, awesome, man, having you as always, brother. Like, I love the insight, love the passion when it comes to breaking down your thought process about the New York Jets. His channel and his handle for Twitter is in the description. Tigo, tell the people where they can go ahead and catch you next, brother.
Talking Jets with Tigo. Like I said, we do a lot of things. We do a lot of shows. We do a lot of talking. And it's just like, we're just passionate about the New York Jets. And that's where all this is coming. Like, it's just, we're passionate about the New York Jets. And I like football. And I like talking football. Kind of get a little carried away with it.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys for chopping it up with us this late into the evening. Some of you guys are sick. Like, it's literally 10:30 on the East Coast. Y'all should be going to bed. It's a Tuesday night. I know y'all got to go to work tomorrow. But I appreciate you guys for chopping it up with us. Again, don't forget, like and subscribe. Share this. Tell your friends about the channel. I appreciate y'all for getting us to 1,700. It really means a lot to me. Looking to go ahead and get to 2,000 again. There is a giveaway for a Joe Namath jersey, autographed jersey, when we get the 2K subscribers. So if you're amongst the 2K subscribers, you'll be entered to win the giveaway. However, if we can actually get to 2K by the NFL draft, I'm gonna not only move up the 2K giveaway or the Joe Namath giveaway up to the draft, I'm gonna add another autographed jersey. I'm not sure if it's going to be freaking. Now, I know who I want to do, but I'm going to wait to see how this goes. I'll show you guys in the next channel. And then we're also going to be doing a autographed mini helmet giveaway on the NFL draft. So again, 2K is the goal. Help me get there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, individuals, I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the real MVPs. And yeah, y'all have a good night. And till next time.
I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance man. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance man.
Any players that's here now, put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Listen, there are going to be some challenges, but with challenges becomes opportunity, gets opportunity. But here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
And here